Hi, I'm Victoria, a licensed esthetician, and welcome to your Besthetician podcast. This is my husband and business partner, Chris, and today we are going to talk about just how interesting and weird our life is, and I'm going to let Chris just start off the conversation because he's so much better than at explaining these things.
So this is a fun conversation that I feel like nobody knows about us. So
Yeah.
you're going to want to listen because we're not normal. We have not, to this day, met people that are like us.
Yeah.
So the best way to explain that is to kind of go back a few years and kind of how we started this whole journey. We've explained already, if you haven't already listened, we've already explained how Victoria got into aesthetics and what she fell in love with about it. But I'll go back to when Victoria graduated from esthetician school, or after that. She already graduated from aesthetic school. She worked for a little while, and we decided that we were going to move to Florida. We're originally from California, from Northern California, and we decided we wanted to get out, we wanted to get away and do something fun. And we had a little guy, we still have our little 7-year-old now, but at the time he was 2 or so. Right around 2.
Yeah.
And we wanted him
Just turned 3.
Or just turned 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So we wanted him to live a life that he knew like the world was his oyster. And we knew that moving away into a new place and having a new experience would give him that.
Yeah.
So we decided to move to Florida, which was the complete opposite place we could live
loved
to
Florida.
from California, the farthest place we can get to away from
Yeah.
California. So we moved to Florida. We found it was between Texas and Florida. We decided on Florida. We had a close friend out there who kind of sold us. We had one friend in Central Florida. So that's what made us move to Florida. So we lived in Orlando. So, with the bigger picture, we decided that when we got there, Victoria would go back to work full time because I was working full time in California.
Yeah,
to
and
be
we
an
were
esthetician.
so unhappy in California, like as
Yeah.
far as like a 9 to 5 and not doing
Yeah.
things that made us
Or
happy.
me working 9 to
yeah,
5.
like him, like
yeah.
you,
But
like
it made us
pursuing
both
your
unhappy.
career and me
Yep.
pursuing
I was
mine.
working construction and it wasn't what I wanted to do. So we decided that Victoria was going to go back and work full time as an esthetician to give her at that time it still is, but your dream job. Like you went to school, you loved what you did, and you never had a chance to fully
And like being a
experience
stay-at-home mom,
it.
I wanted to experience like my own purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of figuring out to do as well. So
Yeah.
I've been doing photo and video for 10 plus years now. And I've always really, really enjoyed that. But I never really found like the place that like, I never was like, I want to be a family photographer. I want to be a wedding photographer.
Yeah, like your niche.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, when you go back to work, it'll give me time to stay home and figure out like, who the heck am I?
Yeah.
Right. Because you had a lot of time staying
And we
at
had a
home.
kid so young.
Yep. Yeah,
I think that was a huge factor
for
too.
sure. But what I'm saying is like you had a lot of time to sit at home and figure out who you were. So I needed some time to be at home to figure out who I was as well.
That's a good
So
point.
we went to Florida. Victoria ended up finding a job at a med spa. It was the first experience for her at a med spa. So she was learning a lot and really, you can speak on that more about how much you enjoyed the med spa aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
more.
I didn't even know it was like a thing. I didn't know that there was such thing as like medical aesthetics and being, into more treatment-based services. If that
all
makes sense,
you knew at
instead
the
of, like,
time was
spa.
like relaxing facials. So you really you were like, this is it. Like I love
and
this.
being so lost when you first get out of school, you're like, what do I want to do?
Yeah, exactly. So when we got to Florida, we did that. So I stayed home full time with our little guy while you went to work. We dealt with COVID for the first time in Florida, which is a whole nother story, but as everyone did, a unique experience is dealing with that. But we were in a new state with a new job, experiencing COVID as a family. So we went through that. Victoria fell in love with medical aesthetics. I've always been because that was the first time to have that opportunity, but been supportive of you, and I hope you've always felt supported. But as Victoria really dove into that space, I was behind her, and I was so happy that she found something that she loved.
Your Instagram is a fan page, so.
Yeah, and my Instagram now is Victoria's
I'm just
fan
kidding. He says
page.
that all the time. So.
Yeah, it is. It really, if you look at it, I mean, that's what it looks like, right?
Crispy production.
Yeah, so you're so funny for that. So Victoria's working. Everything went smooth for like the full first year. You were learning so much. You were really diving into that space and having so much fun. And I missed out a lot of time with our little guy up to that point. So at that point, I was really just enjoying being home too, and like understanding all the stuff you would say about him that I never got to see because I was working so much on the road a lot back in California. But I did keep the photo and video. I've always had a passion for that, so I kept doing that. So developing into that, we got to a point.
Yeah.
Should we keep going to there?
No, yeah. I mean, I think like, no, you've said everything perfectly, but there was like a pivotal point in like this whole transition where like I was doing what I enjoyed so much, and then I like transitioned from being like a front desk and learning all the ins and outs of like the med spa, and then I got to be do more treatment-based services, if that makes sense. So I came home one day and I told Chris I want to make an aesthetics Instagram, and it was, I mean, I was so basic. I was like, I'm going to make an Instagram page called Skin by Victoria. And Chris is so creative. I mean, he's way more creative than me, but like, we're both creative people. And so when I said that and that I wanted to do something with my Instagram and I was determined, he was like, let's make something cool.
Well, let's hold on for 1 second. So
my Instagram
what
sucked.
you did, I think what at first is you went, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
And you were like, I got this. And then I was like, I've been studying Instagram for a long time. I hate Instagram, but I love the potential reach and what Instagram does for people.
And he was also doing a marketing course at the time, like filming.
Yeah, so I was learning. Yeah, I was building
with a good friend.
Yes, building out a course, and then also I've been continuing diving into Instagram and what works. And I was never using it for myself, but I understood the space, right? Mm-hmm. So you jumped in and you were like, I'm gonna do this, and I was like, okay, let's see how you do. And you started posting before and afters, and then
like the little skincare graphics.
If I remember correctly, you came to me and you were like, my Instagram's like not really doing that well. And then I think that's when I got like real like, well, if you want it to do well, what you need to do is X, Y, Z.
Honestly, I personally don't remember like the exact moment, but all I remember is that my Instagram was like weak. It was just,
it was very boring.
Like, you know, when you're like just so excited about something and you're like, I'm going to make an Instagram or like, I'm going to like post my before and after. So like, I was super passionate about like growing my Instagram and posting before and afters and all this stuff. So like, I literally like took and was like making little graphics and all these things. And he was like, what if?
Yeah. And I had like, I think I had more of a marketing mind too. So I was also thinking like, who cares? Like nobody wants to see this, which now I've also learned
I look back
too.
on my page. We should look at that right now.
Yeah. Now I have to edit that in. Okay, so now I'm editing in an old a picture of Victoria's Skin by Victoria. It's going to be right here in the middle. You guys want to
see the before of the what is it called? The evolution?
Yeah.
Of my Instagram.
The Skin by Victoria was the first account that we jumped into.
She had a glow up.
Yeah, we definitely had a glow up. So then I think also at the time too, which was interesting for us. I mean, we were learning a lot in our early marriage and our relationship, but I started really falling in love with doing the photo and video for a business. You know, you weren't a business, but you were connected to a business and be able to like see results from it. So like I could take a video of you, we could immediately put it out on the internet and we could see if a potential client viewed it, liked it, commented on it, or potentially booked an appointment. And that was the first time I had a chance of like in real time seeing those things. And like at the, you know, I've always had access to Victoria's social media. So I always watch all the analytics. I see everything. So that was the first time I got to like do it for a business and like see, oh, look, like 500 people, 1,000 people viewed it. And then like look at the analytics and go, look, they're in Orlando. Like, and it made me like really excited. So I got super excited at that point. I think also in my life, I was very, very lost for a long time. You know, maybe another video, not that everybody cares about me so much, but I was very lost in life as well. And it gave me like the sense of purpose and almost what I was looking for, but it was so beautiful that happened to be with you and not a random business.
Definitely.
Right? Because I had a chance.
I mean, how everything happened organically was so awesome. And like, it was just crazy how the line of events happened.
Yep. And so I've always been, so just a little context is why I've been doing photo and video all between that. So I've always taken on random clients. I've always done stuff here and there. And Victoria and I've also done some like really random videos together. I mean, maybe one day we'll share more about some of the really wacky ads and
show you some of the
commercials that we've done. But we've always been working together. So I've always had some like side work for photo and video. But that was the first time that like what we were doing together. And then it started bringing some clients to the business in Florida.
I think that's what made us so special is because we had never, and I think that it's so unique because a lot of people don't get the opportunity to like build as a couple, and it's so weird. Like, and not weird, but it's like weird to the average person to like, there's not a lot of people that discover their passions and put it together and make something beautiful. And I think that when we are explaining that to people through Instagram, it's like, it's just so unique that it's not like, here's what I did and go and copy and paste this, or here's my recommendation. And we can give our own like advice because we have been through a lot, but it's just so crazy like how the train events happen, and like how like as a couple, how like just not normal it is, you know?
And how none of it was forced. Like none of it was like, Chris, you do marketing, come do my marketing. Because to be honest, like 90%, okay, 90% is a little bit dry. A huge percentage of my understanding of marketing, I learned from doing stuff with you. And at the beginning it was because Victoria worked for other med spas. So I was like, we need to get people in the door for these med spas. How do we do it? What do people want to hear? What are your clients saying? Right.
And it's crazy because when you first get into it, it's like, you're like, I just want to figure out this for like us to make more money. It's like never in your, like, I mean, at least for us, it wasn't like, how can we make money and like leave them and like go, do our own thing. It was like, it was so innocent at first.
Pushing the med spa. And I mean, to be honest, and we've talked about this before, if you haven't listened, go listen to some of our old podcasts because we really dive into this stuff. And to me, it's super, super crazy because we never planned on opening up our own space. We always planned on, and to be honest, like it would have been way easier. Like I still look back now and I'm like, I love that we have the business together. It's very, very stressful. And we talked about that on other episodes as well. But it's really, really hard. And I think what we wanted to use is we wanted to use somebody else's foundation that they put those years into, and us give this unique perspective that we have to them, and we weren't able to find the med spa that wanted that. And it comes down to it,
like, we're just weird. We're so different.
And that's what's hard too, is because like, and I think that's what we had to like, because we used to get really angry about this. Like, it's so annoying. Like, let us shoot some videos for you. But then as a med spa, like they were like, who is this guy who you're saying is gonna like get a babysitter and like come shoot free video for you?
But also, it's so funny because he did like, they loved our video so much that they asked, can you shoot videos for us? So it's like, I mean, it could have all like worked out.
And we did. We gave them all the foot. But
anyways,
but we digress.
Yes,
but anyway,
we're
so
just
we got
weird.
So we got
it's
to
not
that
the normal
point.
situation.
Yeah, we got to that point, and we really hit a rhythm, and we really, really enjoyed working with each other. And I'm a nerd about this stuff. Not that I love aesthetics is not my favorite industry ever. It's not the place that I'm like, oh, I've always had a passion for aesthetics, but I think Victoria's love for it has also poured onto me. So now I have a huge passion and love for it. But I think realistically for me, I have all this information. I watch so many videos. I read so many articles. I'm just consuming marketing content always. And you give me the place because you're so passionate about it and your head is so stuck
and we
into
bounce
like,
off of each other, like our ideas.
You're stuck into like, not stuck is a bad word, but you love what you do so much and you care for these people that you treat and you care for these treatments, and it gives me a place to like be above your brain to go, how do we market your love for people and your love for these treatments? And I think that's why we've worked out so well. And it's not normal. It's very, very weird.
Very weird.
So like when people, I mean, we get comments, we get DMs all the time, like, what do you shoot with? Because like they see us, I mean, we've done 50 videos in a row of high quality videos. They go, okay, Victoria, like, what are you taking into your studio to shoot? And like little do they know that like we're getting a babysitter or not getting a babysitter, and I think it's us together.
I think that's another point too, is like people think that you have to like have this whole setup in your like whole studio, which like if you can, that's great, but like even just taking the dedicated time to like bring in somebody for a facial, like, and even if it's not professional, like even if it's just bringing somebody or whoever in for a facial and making content, like
a dedicated time,
like it doesn't have to be like this huge thing. And I think that would be a great another video of like how to maximize your time and like content creation. But I mean, back to the story of like how Skin by Victoria just like evolved was just the fact that like what I remember, like there was one night that we shot photos for like it was like a 1-year-old birthday party or something, and then we had a backdrop, which a paper backdrop, and you were like, oh my gosh, like what if we took this backdrop and we made informational videos? And like, remember that time when we like did those first few videos and everybody was mind blown. Like it was so crazy to bring like a professional side of professional videos into the industry. Like, and I think that's something that is so common now that so many people don't.
Yeah, they don't even think about it. Yeah, it's just like, what you see normally.
When we started professional videos in that, like it was not in the space.
Yeah.
Maybe there was like 3 other people doing it at the time, and because we like studied the industry, but
yeah,
like,
no, I think very, very rarely were people bringing a videographer in to shoot professional content because, I mean, this was how many years ago now? I mean, I'm pushing 4 years ago now, right? So that, and then, but I'm like, okay, so some people have professional content, but what does nobody have?
Yeah.
Nobody has somebody explaining how to use or what is hyaluronic acid in front of a backdrop that's very simple and easy to understand. I mean, looking back, it wasn't that simple and easy to understand because we were struggling with like writing scripts and like we didn't have a teleprompter at first, so like Victoria's memorizing, so there's a lot to go into it.
I'm having such like deja vu because I'm like, man, I remember the first time we made a video and we got like, it was like 1,000 views. It was like when Instagram like gave you that like push right away.
We
it was
also
like
jumped in really early on Reels. So that was also, we were very fortunate because most people weren't doing video and we jumped on Reels early on when everyone was like,
that was so cool when you saw a video go from like 1,000 to like 4,000 and then to like 8,000 within like 5 minutes. That was so cool.
Yeah, and I mean, and that was like, I mean, TikTok was around at the time, but we weren't on TikTok. So Instagram just released the Reels program, and they were trying to compete with TikTok, right? So to us, it was a huge deal that we can get that much reach off a video we made in the living room. And just so everybody knows, any video you've ever seen on Skin by Victoria or Skin by You, besides the treatment rooms, have always been done. We're in our living room right now. I'm not going to show you because it's a little bit embarrassing, but we've always done this from the living room. We've always done this after 9 p.m. because the kid or kids are sleeping. Yeah, going back to the weird life that we have to wait for the kids to go to sleep to be able to film videos. We're going to show you guys one day.
We're going to show you. Maybe in the next video.
Yeah, we'll dive in more. But yeah, so anyways, I think, we jumped on really, really early, and I think that's what gave us the growth because we were, I mean, it's weird to say like we were trendsetters because Victoria is very humble, have never spoke about this on our Instagram ever. This is an exclusive podcast situation because Victoria's not the person to go, look at these videos you're making. We did it first. And to be honest, we did do a lot first, and it just doesn't, I mean, we've always been okay with being the trendsetters and not being we don't need to take credit for it.
And I feel like that's why like it just like, I feel like this podcast has been, hopefully will be an outlet for us to like express ourselves, and especially me because I'm such an introvert at heart, like I have conversations with people all day and I mean, it took a long time for me to get there, and I'm, always pouring into people. But when it comes to like stories on my Instagram and
social media as a whole,
like I'm good at content creating, but I'm not good at showing personality on Instagram. And I hope that like people can see the love that I have for other people.
Because it feels outside of your comfort zone.
And like the like just genuine and kindness that I can like love on people. But like I do majority of my personality sharing in my treatment room. So I'm just really hoping that this podcast can open up different, ways for me to show that and for
it's the whole reason why we started the podcast. The 100% reason I wanted to push this podcast with Victoria is one, as everybody can tell, I can't shut up. I love to talk and I want to share all the information that I have. But number two, one of the most important reasons is because Victoria has so much to say and has so many...
But you don't let me talk.
I'm just kidding. I tried to.
I'm just kidding.
But Victoria has so many really cool things and interesting things to say.
Also, I'm just kidding because, I mean, I'm so like...
in the middle of this.
Sorry. No, I was just thinking out loud. I was like, wow, that sounded really bad. But honestly, I hate talking, so I'm like, Chris, talk.
Yeah, that's one of our things as like a couple, so it bleeds into, other places. So sometimes Victoria's
I was sitting here and I was like,
I'm like, say this on your Instagram story, and she goes, I just wish you could say that on my Instagram story for me, right? Like, because we have the conversations, but it's just uncomfortable, or it's not that you're not that happy to like jump on,
or like it just doesn't come naturally. Like I'm like, hey guys, like.
yeah, because you overthink when the camera's on. And
lately I've been really practicing, and I've been doing a lot better. I feel like it's coming more natural.
Yeah,
but like
for
practice
sure.
makes perfect, guys, with everything that you do.
Yeah, but I think that's what the point of this podcast was, is to give Victoria an outlet. No, you're good. Give Victoria an outlet to speak about things. But my job, and what I feel like my job is, to teach things that me and Victoria do that maybe you don't understand as much or don't care about as much, like the analytics and the back end marketing that I do, that I want to teach other estheticians. And then number two, we want to have a space that you can like be angry at things or be frustrated or have like these really like, I don't know, like the things that aren't the common, everybody thinks this and you think differently, but you don't want to jump on an Instagram story and like be a hater.
I'm not that person.
By the way, this sucks.
Or like, this is the best thing ever. If you think it sucks, then I don't care. Like, I don't know, like it's just intense. I want to be loving. Like that's my goal, is
I think
have a loving platform.
And I think it's perfect, but I think the podcast is going to be a space. This show is going to be a space
give
that
opinions in a respectful manner.
You can push those opinions more and don't feel like it's a 30-second story.
Yeah,
that you
and not
have
gonna lie,
like,
there's not as much pressure because I don't have a following on here. So
like we're just chit chatting. It's basically just you and me watching it now, right?
Like you're just like watching a conversation that we're having.
Yeah, and that's
live. Like this is basically like a live conversation.
It's exactly what it is. So and I think that's. I mean, I hope this story rounded out enough to show our dynamic, and especially what I'm trying to be for Victoria, because I've been yelling at Victoria about posting more stories and giving more personality.
You don't yell
Not
at
yelling,
me.
but like, like I've been real pushy.
Yeah.
But we've realized that it's just not a space that, even if you get more comfortable at it, it's just not for you, and that's okay. And I've wanted this space to be a place for you to come and go, you know what? This is how I feel about Epicurious. You know what? This is how I feel about this Skin Better product. And I'll tell you what, guys. We have some very controversial.
Video is going to be juicy.
Trying to get them to
about.
But we have some. Victoria has some. They're not really controversial, but they can be in the space.
Because every provider has their own opinions. It's okay to have different opinions.
Yeah,
okay?
And we're okay with everybody's different perspective. But Victoria is not good at getting on her story and going, you know what? Everybody is not right for saying this. But this podcast, what we want it to be is a space that Victoria can feel and say that way in a way that's respectful and kind. And
when you're not like following trends, I think that's a big thing. Like when you're not like somebody who's just following everybody else, copy and paste, it's hard when you're different. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this space can give you a place to just go, these are my perspectives. These are my feelings. It's not based on what's hot and what's not. It's what you've seen with your clients, what you've seen with yourself. And also, I mean, we're so deep in the podcast. I don't know how many people are even listening to this point, but I think a place that goes, Victoria's not trying to just sell crap to people. This isn't a space. We don't want to use Instagram to just a place to just sell you crap. Right? Like just because we make the biggest profit margin. I say we, because we're together, we're a couple. Money you make, I make too, you know. But a place that you can go, and if you don't like something, even if it pays the best, you're not going to promote it. It doesn't matter what everybody else says. It doesn't matter that the profit margins are 70%. You're not going to promote something that you feel like you or your clients have not had a good experience with. And I think that,
or like what everybody else is doing or saying, and it's like you're like, well, I may have a different opinion, or like I don't want to disagree with everybody.
But then I also go, how many other people are saying that because the profit margins are the highest? Right? And I'm not to like make everybody out to be the bad guy, but what we want to do is, and what Victoria's always done a good job at, even if I've disagreed with, is going, I
suck at selling on my Instagram.
I'm not going to put something, you just suck at selling.
Like,
which also
excuse
gives
me,
us,
not in the treatment room.
Which also gives us a place to go. We're not just trying to sell. Right?
I mean, I just hope that, I mean, my goal is always to just like help people and educate people, and like it just comes so naturally in the treatment room for me that it's hard to translate that onto an online platform, because number one, like, I mean, it really is hard to get past like people's, I mean, for me, I'm like, I always think about what other people think of me, and I think that's something that like in some form that everybody struggles with. It's like, and when you have a bigger platform, you just overthink those things. And I'm definitely like very passionate about what I do, and I have strong feelings and things that, but at the same time, I may be doing a disservice to helping other estheticians because I'm not being open about my opinion. So it's just a constant struggle that I'm working on personally. And but
I think your empathy also is important, because how could you go and sell a product to somebody when you don't know their full story? Or in the treatment room, it's really easy for you to sell very well because you know somebody, you know everything about them.
I mean, the last thing that I would want for me to like post my regimen and somebody buys that regimen and they have like extremely acne prone skin or whatever it is, or their barrier's compromised, they buy what I use and then their skin's worse. Like to me, it's like so personal, and like skincare. I mean, to me, that just makes me every other influencer that like promotes Drunk Elephant, to be honest. Like that's
they just sell stuff to sell it, right? And I think even with like say Skin Better, which is an amazing product line and has amazing products. Not every single one of those products is perfect for every single person.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that's where we've been really careful, or I've been helping you, or sometimes I push you more, but you've been very, very careful to just go, I'm not going to go out.
Even recommending vitamin C. I'm like, I want to talk about the benefits of how good vitamin C is, but like it may not work for everyone.
But if you don't know the client, how can you say everyone needs a vitamin C and somebody give them a vitamin C and their skin freaks out?
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't be using a vitamin C maybe yet. Vitamin C. Maybe yet, right?
Sorry,
that was okay. That's who we are. We're getting vulnerable in this episode.
Yeah.
But anyways, I want to talk more about that stuff later. Victoria will get into plenty more controversial topics later in these episodes. We'll center episodes around Victoria hates enter product name here for so and so, but for now I hope everyone understands our weird situation.
Victoria hates Kim Kardashian, and these are tanning beds like everyone else.
Stop it. These are conversations me and Victoria have all the time. Like this podcast is a place that me and Victoria talk about the same exact things we always talk about, but on camera and with some audio.
Well, maybe and so I mean, we obviously covered a bunch of different topics on this, and I hope that you guys can understand just like the history. I think it's important to kind of dive into where we started and where we're at right now. There's definitely a lot of other weird things about our life and just our daily dynamic, and like that, like he's a stay-at-home dad and he does marketing and stuff, and I'm the full-time, person that goes to
provider.
Work. Provider. So, I just think it's such a unique dynamic, and there's so much great knowledge that we have to share. So hopefully you can understand a little bit more about us, and we'll go deeper into other topics. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today and just listening if you've made it this far. If you did, please comment and we'll shout you out. But is there anything else that you have to say?
No, that's it.
Alrighty, well, have a great night and see you next episode.